Hey everybody, it's John Brackett, Fidelity Business Partners, also the host of We Build Great Apartment Communities, the podcast. So today I am going to answer the weekly question, and today's weekly question is this. It's how do I select a investment opportunity? And I think really what the question is asking for is how do I select a sponsor, okay? And so I'm going to use that instead of going through the entire criteria. At least that we use. And the reason for this is I hear this question a lot. This is one of the most common questions that we get. And the more common answer that I get, it's about sponsorship, right? And my question is always, well, what does that mean? Because that can mean a lot of different things. But the common answer is track record, okay? And so I'm going to challenge that traditional logic because track record doesn't always translate into profits, okay, or success. And let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? And then I'm going to get into answering the question. So one of the more common things that I see, and we also look at when we are looking at deploying our capital into an opportunity as an investor, looking to deploy our equity into an opportunity as an investor, one of the more common things that I see in a track record is the number of units that have been done, right? Some passively, some as a general partner, but the reality is, just because someone says that they've invested in 5,000 units, that doesn't really mean very much, okay? Because you have to qualify that a little further. And I'll give you an example, okay? So say someone has invested in 5,000 units, okay? But half of that is as a limited partner, half of that is as a general partner, but their role as a general partner is not that of an operator, okay? It's something very different. So that's a perfect example because it doesn't align with where the risk associated is, where the risk associated with my capital is, right? That is ultimately as an experienced operator. So just general example, okay? Now here's the other side of this. Here's the other side of the question. So the question now becomes, well, what do you look for and how do you qualify them? Well, I think banks do a really good job of this, and I don't know why this is not as common in the world of private equity. So I'm going to give you a very good tip, one that will save you probably thousands and thousands of dollars. All right. Banks do a really good job for qualifying for character, capacity, and capital, right? Or liquidity. So what I'm going to do here, in fact, I'm going to go to a large bank, pull up how they define credit and what they look for. Most of you have heard of the 5 C's, right? Well, I'm going to touch on that a little bit, but really interesting to me that in the world of private equity, especially with smaller investments, investors don't ask for the sponsor's credit report. It's the craziest thing. Credit report and ultimately a personal financial statement, right? Certified if you can get one. And for us, I provide that all the time. And so full disclosure, right? Now, think about this, okay? Banks have made a career of mitigating risk by asking for a credit report because ultimately when you meet somebody, you don't know who they are when you're first interviewing a potential company backed by a sponsor, okay, or an operator or an owner. That business represents the owner, right? Their character. And the best way to do that when you don't know them is ask for a credit report, right? Banks are very good at that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is a personal financial statement, okay, a balance sheet. Because I'll give you the example that I left earlier, okay? You can own 5,000 units, and I've seen this before on deals that we've looked at, where the sponsor is involved in 2,000 units, but like 80% of them are upside down or not profitable. So in that case, we actually stepped into the position as operator, right, for good reason, because there was no real history there of operating profitable apartment buildings or profitable investments for communities, right? So credit report, personal financial statement. The personal financial statement showed that, irrespective of the 2,000 units or 5,000 units, whatever that was, there's very little equity that was built over that entire portfolio. So I'll give you an example. If that 2,000 units or 5,000 units equates to negative equity, why would you place your money with a sponsor that has not demonstrated their ability to build wealth, right? Because that's what you're hoping they're going to do for your money. So, a great example is, 5,000 units, if you're placing your money in someone's ability to demonstrate in someone's ability to demonstrate that they purchased many units, then great. But that doesn't equate to their ability to understand how to build wealth. There's a really big difference, right? So ask for a credit report, okay? That credit report is gonna determine their character until you really get to know them based on their performance, their history. I include that in our packages all the time, very transparent, right? Hey, look, here's a credit report. Here's a personal financial statement. This is what we've done. This is what I've done as a sponsor, and very transparent, right? Nothing to hide, all right? Instead of units, it's a demonstration of performance. You should do the same, okay? That's one. Credit report, personal financial statement, two, with a demonstration of what those assets look like, and more importantly, how they've translated into equity or building wealth, right? You can also see how they're leveraged, which is really important, especially in this market. Number three is liquidity, which is going to be on that personal financial statement. The ability to weather through challenge, because you're going to need to be able to have cash to do that if things don't go as planned. And, you know, many times they don't, but it's the sponsor's ability to execute on that plan that will demonstrate that. So, hey guys, this is John Brackett answering the question of how do I select, okay, a great partner or a great sponsor for an investment. And the short answer is don't focus on units. Make sure that, you know, whatever the story is, that translates into an ability and a demonstrated ability to build wealth. Because you can partner with someone that does a bunch of small deals, but they're great at converting those deals into a massive amount of wealth creation versus someone that has a lot of units, but all those units are over leveraged and they're upside down in equity, equating to zero value creation. So John Brackett, Fidelity Business Partners, also the host of the podcast, We Build Great Apartment Communities. Link in with me to start a conversation, or you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, also Spotify. You can link in with me on LinkedIn, John Brackett. Go to Instagram, also our YouTube channel, which is We Build Great Apartment Communities. I will talk to you soon, and be wise when you're selecting partners to invest with, right? John Brackett, take care.